By now, you've probably noticed a theme about how user experience designers think. That theme being that we don't just see doing UX as our job, it is a mindset. Thinking like a UXer in every situation is what separates great UXers from others. As you begin this journey, you'll notice, if you haven't already, that how you view the world will change. Looking at a door will no longer just be about seeing an entry or exit mechanism. It will become an entire discussion about how the handle doesn't fit the job, and why it doesn't make sense that the door swings one way and not the other. So, this is your warning that from here on out, life as you know it will be different. When we talk about user experience being everywhere, it can seem a bit over the top. But in reality, the skills and thinking style that you curate as you dive deeper into this profession really can be used and ignited anywhere at any time. There are a few reasons for this. The first is that UX, and any type of design really, is based on the knowledge and observation of people interacting with other people and things. In fact, one of the fathers of modern UX, whom I've mentioned before, Donald Norman, wrote a well-known book titled The Design of Everyday Things. In it, he points out how design thinking is everywhere. But a little-known fact is that Norman's original title for the book was The Psychology of Everyday Things. He realized the connection of design, everyday things, and how it all added up to people's perception of those things. For example, understanding and then utilizing the psychology behind how people perceive the world is really the true talent of the designer. So, the first reason that UX is everywhere is because people interacting with other people and with other things and then perceiving those interactions happens everywhere. The second reason that UX is everywhere is that the processes and methodologies that make up UX and that UXers therefore use in their day-to-day practices is extremely flexible, and this is on purpose. All that being said, when we say that UX is everywhere, what does that really mean? UX everywhere means that your mind is now in a takeover state. It means, as I alluded to before, that great UXers embody UX principles so much that they use them to approach life and solve problems beyond technology. Let me provide an example. I live in one of the greatest cities in the world, New York City, and recently I had to find a new apartment. Now, to many of you that have never experienced finding an apartment in New York City, this sounds like a normal thing to do. However, when you are in New York City, finding an apartment is a game that involves great balance and skill, because for one thing, the price points that you are dealing with are larger than most mortgages throughout the rest of the United States. And for another, there are a lot of people, places, and types of information involved. Thus, in order to smooth out my apartment search, I approached it as a UXer. I knew I had some users to deal with. A real estate broker. Yeah, you need one of those to get a rental in New York. The building manager and the super. There was some content involved. Real estate brokers' payment terms, building leasing company signing terms, credit check payment, letters of recommendation from past landlords, a certain amount of money in the bank, figuring out a move-in date. I could go on. Being a UXer, however, I had a clear way to deal with all of this. I just had to put everything into context. So, I needed the broker to be a friend, to see me as a person, so that they could find me the best apartment at a time of year where there was less than a 1% vacancy in the city. I needed to think like the building management company to get all the documentation I could lined up so that when I found the place I wanted, I could hand over my life in less than 5 minutes before someone else could take the apartment. I got in good with the super on day one so that I could secure a flexible move-in date, knowing that they are the ones that ultimately let me into the building, and so on. I approached finding an apartment like a UX problem, and I did so naturally. Using my skills, I was able to find a place within my budget that fit my needs, that was in the location I wanted, with a great relationship with the building and super, all within 2 days. That is what I mean by using UX everywhere.